Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. It is Wednesday, April the 2nd. Yeah, we're already in the second quarter of the year. Can you believe that? The second quarter of the year. I am Belinda Harris, and I am an HR disruptor. I talk about all things HR, from small business owners who don't have an HR department, to leaders who are managing a team, to employees who are having issues with their supervisors, and to people who are looking for a job. So I talk about all things HR. I also talk about self-care at work, and I talk about AI. So if those are things that you're interested in, then you are in the right place. And every Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, before I start my exercise routine, I go live on YouTube and I go live on TikTok to talk about self-care at work. And today we are going to talk about something that a lot of us could benefit from, and that is digital detox at work. That's right. We need to learn how to manage our tech fatigue. So let me just get right to it, right into it. How many tabs do you have open at work when you're working? How many tabs do you have open? You know, a lot of us work on a lot of different systems. Like, how many tabs at any one time do you feel like you have open? I bet some of you have more than two. How many people have more than three or more than four tabs open at any time while you're working? Like, think about that. Here's a better one. How often do you finish the day with your eyes burning, your neck tight, and your brain completely fried? You see, tech is amazing. I mean, I love text, but notifications all day long, back to back Zoom meetings, and screen time overload is draining our energy and our focus. So, I'm going to talk about today on how you can manage tech fatigue while still getting the job done. Because let's face it, unplugging, completely unplugging isn't always an option that we can use, but there is time and ways that we still can reclaim our peace. Now, the first thing that you want to do when you think about digital detox is just know the signs of tech fatigue, because there are signs. Eye strain, that's a sign of tech fatigue. Headaches, trouble concentrating, feeling tapped out mentally by noon. Think about it. You get to work at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, or maybe some people even 10 o'clock. By noon, you're already, I got nothing else to give. Or doom scrolling when you should be resting. Those are signs of tech fatigue, because sometimes we think, we're just tired, but really it's our brains on tech overload. And recognizing the signs is actually the first step. Now, one thing that you can do, and that to help reduce eye strain, is a simple trick. It's called the 20-20-20 rule. So 20-20-20, three 20s rule. And that is, every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Is that easy? Some people say set a reminder. I'm not going to say that because it's one more ding. But as you think about it throughout your day, try it. When you take a break or take a pause, 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Your eyes and brain need a break from that screen glare. So looking off and looking away will help that. The other thing that you do is you schedule a no tech zone during your day. So even at work, you can have a no tech zone. So choose a 15 to 30-minute window in your day where you don't check your phone, email, or notifications. Now, some people might be like, that's impossible. But It's hard for me to believe you don't have 15 minutes, hopefully up to 30, but 15 minutes where you can say, I'm not checking my phone. I'm not checking no emails, and I'm not looking at no notifications, which means texts or group me's. None of that. It could be during lunch, which I always talk about. You need to have a real lunch, meaning you shouldn't be working while you're at lunch. So that could be a time where you do a no tech. Or right before a meeting or right after a meeting. So maybe right after a meeting, after you've had a meeting, you're like, okay, now I'm in my 15 minutes to 30 minutes of no tech. I'm not checking emails. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not checking for notifications on how the meeting went. Nothing. Maybe you take those 15 minutes to have a no tech zone. But during the day, sometime during the day, you need to fit that in. Instead of, so you're saying, well, what do I do for those 15 minutes? Just stand there? Well, you could be still. You can take a walk. You can write in your journal, or you can just stare out the window. Because yes, that's allowed. That is allowed to just have time for yourself. Say this with me. I deserve moments that are mine and not my screens. I deserve moments that are mine and not my screens. So 15 to 30 minutes during your work day, not after work, not before work, during your work day, where you have a no tech zone. The other thing that you can do for a digital detox is to audit your notifications. I mean, do we really need emails, Teams, Slack, GroupMe, calendar alerts blowing us up all day long? Like all day long. Do we really need that? Every time the phone, there's a flash or a ding, and here's one more thing. Turn off the noise. Turn it off. Silence non-urgent notifications. Set do not disturb hours and let your team know that you're on your do not disturb time. I mean, give your brain a chance to focus and breathe. You know, a lot of times we are back to back to back to back meetings and solving problems and dealing with this emergency and that emergency. Our brain doesn't even have time to focus, let alone breathe. And we need to give ourselves that. Because every ping doesn't need my attention. And that's what you want to think about. Not every little ding, boom, should you have to take your focus off of what you were doing to look down or look and click this. We need to audit our notification. And then the last thing that we can do to help detox our digital tech is that before you log off for the day or clock out, do a screen-free ritual. Because in your day with a digital wind down. So if you log off, before you clock out, if you do a screen-free ritual, it helps transition. So what you do is you close all those browser tabs. Don't leave them open for the next day so you can come back to 10. Close all your browser tabs. You can write down tomorrow's top 3 priorities. Write it down. And physically step away from your desk. And because it will tell your brain, we are done for the day. We're finished. We're finished. Because in your day with intention, not more scrolling. A lot of times we end our day standing up, still scrolling, still trying to catch emails, still trying to see what's. No, in the day with intention, not one more thing of scrolling. So the digital detox plan for work, for your job, is to recognize tech fatigue. We talked about that, which is, again, eye strains or headaches, trouble concentrating, feeling tapped out mentally before noon. That doom scrolling where you're on a break, but you're just still scrolling through your phone, but you should be resting. So 1, use the 20-20-20 rule, which is every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And that is, and not look to don't look to the TV screen if you have a TV up, look to no screen. You can look out the window, but it's trying to say away from your phone and away from your computer screen. So every 20 minutes, pick something 20 feet away and stare at it for 20 seconds. That's the 20-20-20 rule. Create a no tech zone, again, where you have 15 to 30 minutes where it's no tech. I'm not looking at my phones. I'm not checking emails. I'm not doing any of that for 15 to 20 minutes. It could be at lunch, because hopefully at lunch, I say that again, hopefully one, you're taking a real lunch. You'll hear me say that a lot as it relates to self-care at work. A real lunch is not necessarily eating, but it's not working. So you can choose not to eat for your lunch. Plenty of people do that. Some people walk, some people journal, some people talk to their family, some people shop, during their lunch, but you're not working. So you can have your tech-free zone at lunch. And if you're doing that, that means no phone though. So you want to think about that, but create a tech-free zone every day at work. Not one time, not just on Fridays, not just on Tuesdays. That's the thing about self-care at work. We be like, well, I'll pick one day. Every day we should be doing some form of self-care at work every day, every single day. So every single day you should be creating a no tech zone. There's some time in that day where I'm not checking anything. You want to audit your notifications. You don't need something buzzing and jumping and flashing every 10 minutes. So audit that so all that doesn't keep coming through on your phone. And then end the day with a digital wind down where you close out. You physically close out, you mentally close out for the day, which close all your tabs, write down your 3 top priorities for the next day, step up and away from the computer, and you're finished for the day. Because listen, I know you have goals. We have deadlines and we have responsibilities. But self-care doesn't mean dropping the ball. So when you have self-care, that doesn't mean, well, I don't care about what's going on there because I'm looking out for my self-care. That's not what I'm saying it is. It means, self-care means taking care of the one carrying the ball, which is you. So I'm not saying drop the ball, but take care of the person that's carrying the ball. Which of these are you going to try today? One of the reasons why I go live at 6:30 to talk about self-care at work on Wednesdays is to try to catch people before they get to work so they can pick one thing that they are going to try and implement that day. So which one of these things? Recognize tech fatigue. Use your 20-20-20 rule. Create a no tech zone. Audit your notifications or in your day with the digital wind down. Which of these are you going to try today? Because again, self-care doesn't mean we're dropping the ball, that we're using it as an excuse not to get our stuff done, not to take responsibilities, not to meet our deadlines, not to have any goals. That's not what self-care is. Self-care means we are taking care of the person who is carrying the ball, carrying the load. Because self-care is important. You cannot show up to be your best self if you aren't taking care of yourself. Because let me tell you, your boss, your supervisor, that small business owner ain't going to say, oh, I can see you're not doing self-care today. You need to block. They're not going to do that because they're too busy trying to take care of their own self-care. It is your responsibility to take care of yourself every single day. You should be at the top of your to-do list, the top of your priority. This is what I'm doing for myself today. Because when you take care of yourself, especially at work, you show up as your best self. So that 10 minutes that you get up from your desk and go stand outside to get some, I call it a nature break, some sun in your eyes. When you go back to work, you feel a little bit more energized. You feel a little bit more motivated. You can focus a little more to get things done. When you do your real lunch, where you're not looking at a webinar during your lunchtime because you're trying to squeeze it all in, where you are doing your own real lunch, whether you're journaling, whether you're sitting quietly, whether you're eating your lunch with no disruptions. When you go back to work, you come back better as your best self. So self-care every day is important. Not every other day, not just on Fridays, not just on Wednesdays when Belinda go live and remind us, let's do something for self-care. Every single day, you should be doing something for your self-care. So I want to thank you for coming on today. I'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same vibe. Until then, protect your peace, close some of those tabs that you got open on your computer, and take care of yourself because you deserve it. Thank you.